Welcome to our weekly news update from George and the Garden Route on a Tuesday. Today is 23 July and I am Beatrice Esterhazen for Group Editors Live. 3 people died in a fire that completely gutted an upmarket treetop chalet in the Knysna section of the Garden Route National Park in Harkerville Forest on Thursday, 18 July. According to SANParks, booking records suggest that 2 of the victims of the blaze were SANParks employees. The 8th accused and suspected kingpin of an abalone poaching syndicate, 49-year-old Chan Wu, was released on bail of 20,000 rand in the George Magistrates Court on Friday, 19 July. His co-accused were granted bail a month ago. The state opposed bail, saying that Wu posed a flight risk. All 8 suspects will, hopefully, be back in court on 6 September. 41-year-old Andrew Fleming was sentenced to 27 years behind bars for the murder of his wife Karen at a guest house in George in 2022. Fleming stabbed his 52-year-old wife to death at the guest house in Aspling Street during a fight. After the stabbing, he handed himself over to the police. With at least 11 rabies cases in seals along the Western Cape coast, including one in Mossel Bay, this is the world's first significant outbreak of the deadly disease in marine mammals. Rabies makes the victim extremely aggressive, and the public is asked to stay well away from wild animals. To report any incidents, contact the Manager of Municipal Health and Environmental Services, Johan Kompion, at info@gardenroute.gov.za or on 044 803 1300. Proud Ambassador for South Africa, Marita Bezuidenhout, is back in George after a very successful exhibition at the University of North Carolina in Charlotte in the United States. 60 pieces of Bezuidenhout's art was on display in June under the theme Echoes of South Africa, of which 40% were sold before the actual gallery opening night on 13 June. Read more about Bezuidenhout's experience in this week's George Herald on Thursday, 25 July. Mandela Day was celebrated across the world last week Thursday, 18 July, and the Garden Route was no exception. Conville CPF and the Conville Police used their 67 minutes for Madiba to distribute soup on the very cold day. The staff of the Thembalethu Magistrates Court also handed soup to colleagues and the public to foster a spirit of community. The Group Editors digital team hosted a group of local youngsters of Siyakhona Youth Centre in Thembalethu, right here in our recording studio, and they loved showing off their skills in front of the camera. Watch the video on Group Editors' YouTube channel. The George Herald sales team and Group Editors sales manager Yolanda Oukamp gave their 67 minutes to the doggies and cats at Garden Route SPCA. Learners of Inkubeku Science Centre in Thembalethu picked up rubbish in the area to make Madiba proud. A handful of people participated in the first annual Gold Coast Bears Polar Bear charity swim, known as Ysbeertjie, at Victoria Bay on Saturday, 20 July. The event originated 29 years ago in the Free State and has been held every year since in Ventersburg, Bloemfontein and Sutherland. Victoria Bay is now the 4th venue and raises money to make beaches wheelchair-friendly. Young surfers from across the country enjoyed the iconic right-hand point break this weekend during the Sea Harvest Vic Bay Gromcomp presented by Ripcol. Conditions ranged from perfect on Friday 19 July to massive and messy on Saturday, and finally ending with clean and contestable conditions on Sunday. Local karateka Nathan Loss has been selected for the Protea team that will represent South Africa at the 11th Commonwealth Championship in Bangladesh at the end of September. His coach at Karate Zen George, Sensei Marion Ferndale, is confident that Nathan will perform well and has called on locals to help fund Nathan's expenses. Contact Ferndale on 083 341 1663. And finally, weekend heartbreak for the SWD Eagles. Despite a mammoth effort by the Eagles against the Sanlam Boland Cavaliers in the Carling Cup First Division semi-finals in Wellington, the Cavaliers edged past the leading Eagles in the final moments of the game, scoring a try and a conversion. With this 24-25 loss, the SWD Eagles' Carling Cup dream ground to a halt. And that's it for our Tuesday news wrap. For more on these and other stories, get your local newspaper on Thursday. Visit our websites, the Group Editors YouTube channel, and all our social media platforms. I'm Beatrice Esterhazen for Group Editors Live.